What's up, everyone? This is Lan here with another episode of Cheeseheadz Weekly. We are back here with another episode. This is episode 44, and I am very excited to bring you this one. The Packers are coming off a 29-22 Thanksgiving Day win over the Lions. Very, very impressive. Huge upset win. And I will break it all down here in a minute. But be sure to check out the Q&As and the polls on Spotify. Participate in those. Those are a lot of fun. Also, there's a link in the description of every single episode on every platform to send in a voice message. You can send in pretty much anything, a question, a take that you have on a particular subject that you want me to chime in on, or a disagreement with one of mine. Those are a lot of fun. And the show is available pretty much anywhere, except for Amazon Music. And the show is available on YouTube as well, youtube.com/@cheeseheadz_weekly. New episodes come out every Tuesday. Hit the bell icon on Spotify or wherever else, YouTube, to be notified when a new episode comes out. Tell your friends about the show. Rate the show. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. That would be fantastic. You can follow the show on Instagram. And it is also on Facebook and Twitter now, too. I don't post anything there. I do post some things occasionally on Instagram. You can follow the show at all of those places, at Cheeseheadz_weekly. Check out the website, greatcove.net/cheeseheads. And we will get right into the episode here. So, I will start off by talking about some player performances. I was able to watch the game and also some of the other two games on Thanksgiving as well, and I will give some takeaways from those games as well. Let's start off with Jordan Love. His stats, a 68.8 completion percentage, 268 yards. He was 22 for 32, 268 yards, and 3 touchdowns. His passer rating was the best of the season, 125.5. His best, second best was week 1. This is the absolute, without a doubt, best game of Jordan Love's career. There were not even any real misses. There was a few where the throws, there's always different things you can improve on with the precision of the throws. And then just there was one that isn't really a miss. He tried to throw it deep for Watson. Could have been a touchdown. Watson was open. The problem is he was kind of fading away, had pressure in his face, and pretty much just threw it off his back foot. And it fell well short of Watson. And so you can kind of give him a little bit of forgiveness there for that one, just because of the pressure in his face and the fact that he was having to throw while fading away like that. Had some really beautiful plays, and the Packers just started out fast. They received the coin toss and elected to receive. Not too many teams do that. They decided they wanted to receive. They wanted to start fast. Earlier, before the game, they had decided that they were going to throw deep on the first play, try to take a shot deep to kind of just set the tone of the game. Then Matt LaFleur decided he texted Jordan, from what I've heard, and wanted to change to a more conservative play. And Jordan Love was like, no, I want to go deep. And they went deep. It paid off. That was one of the slight misses. That one was a little bit behind Christian Watson. Still very catchable. Watson went up, made a terrific catch between defenders. But if Jordan Love puts that, the ball traveled 53 yards in the air, okay? So it was a long throw. Jordan Love would have had to really put a lot on it. But if he put more on it, threw it ahead of Christian Watson, he could have had a touchdown on the very first play of the game, 75-yarder. And honestly, just looking at the film of that play, Jordan Love did kind of hesitate a little bit. He hit the back of his drop, one hitch, and then he kind of went another hitch too, and that kind of takes some of the strength off the throw. Just looking at Jordan Love's tape, I like the QB School, a channel on YouTube, is a fantastic watch. Gives you film from all quarterbacks. I've used it a lot, and it's really nice, very insightful on some of those things, and that was kind of what was said there on that channel, that Jordan Love, if he doesn't hesitate there, if he hits the back of his drop, bam, hits the back foot, lets it fly, he likely could get a little bit more on that, and maybe it's a touchdown. Either way, it was a fantastic play, and Jordan Love was fantastic the whole day after that. Completion percentage was pretty good, his best since, I think it was his second best of the season. It was. The only one that was better was the Rams game. So, yeah, pretty efficient performance. Some shots down the field, some big plays. Christian Watson is the next one I want to talk about. He came alive this game. 5 receptions for 94 yards, a touchdown. Like I said, it could have been a lot more. I was able to find an article about this because I kind of saw some of these plays. And if I can just find it here real quick, he could have had, I think, 4 touchdowns is what we saw here. Again, the first play could have been a 75-yard touchdown. And then there was a 3rd and 4 play that Watson fell while making a full speed turn on an outbreaking route. He was turning on the run, kind of fell. It looked like the defender had part of that, and the officials just said that Watson's feet got tangled with the cornerback, so apparently it was not a penalty. And without the contact, he could have made the catch and scored a 24-yard touchdown on the run after the catch. But that didn't happen. And then on 3rd and 10, that one that I said possibly a miss, Love had pressure immediately right up the middle. Couldn't get enough on the ball. And, if there was enough protection, he could have thrown that ahead of Watson. That could have been a 42-yard touchdown. So that took away a lot. And so he could have had, and again, he already had a 23-yard touchdown, I believe. If all of those plays had happened, Watson would have finished the game with 7 catches for 182 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, it's not about the numbers, and it's not really that we needed that to happen. Those things happen in the NFL, all the time, with that, especially with that pass interference one. And, the pressure right up the middle, not everything's going to be perfect every week, and this was pretty near perfect as it gets, I would say, against a really good Lions team for Jordan Love and Christian Watson. Christian Watson looked really good. There were times earlier where it looked like he was running the wrong routes or running routes that weren't not running the routes correctly. He was running the right route, but not running a very good route, a little bit of a sloppy route runner. He is at his best when he can just get behind the defense and just use his speed, get up, make physical plays down the field. That is what he's good at. I'm not sure he's ever going to be a great route runner, great separator, Devontae Adams type, but pretty much at this point, I view him as kind of an upgraded Marquez Valdes-Scantling. When we had Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he'd get open down the field. That was pretty much all he did. A few other plays here and there, but he's upgraded because I think Watson's faster, and Watson can actually catch. Classic play. The Chiefs lost to the Eagles because Marquez Valdes-Scantling dropped a potentially game-winning touchdown pass, 51-yarder from Patrick Mahomes. And we saw that a lot in Green Bay, and I was not at all disappointed that he left, especially since we got Watson now, and Watson made a good many terrific catches in this game, including his touchdown catch. Next up, we have Tucker Kraft. He was the starting tight end here with Luke Musgrave out, and I would say he delivered a pretty solid performance. He only caught 2 passes for 15 yards and a score. The score was on a very well-designed play that just got Love was able to get an easy completion for him. To him, he was wide open, easy touchdown, but Kraft executed it very well. The way he was supposed to block and then come off the block and go out in the flat there and catch a pass. And he did it perfectly, engaged, ripped the defender, and gave Love plenty of time to throw it to him, and he walked in for the score. His blocking has really improved. He did not look great week 1, and can be overwhelming for rookie tight ends. But him and Musgrave have been really good, even as rookies, and it's really fantastic to see. But yeah, Tucker Kraft, really love to see it, and his blocking has been really solid, which is what really matters for him, as he's never going to be the most dynamic playmaker catching passes. I think Musgrave is more that guy. But Tucker Kraft, if he gets a ball in his hands, he can be kind of a bowling ball, after the catch. He'll run over guys, he'll hurdle guys. He can create some missed tackles for sure, and he's pretty special in that way. If you look at his college tape, that is pretty much what he made a living doing. That's how he was great doing that, and some great highlight reel plays. Another tight end I'd just like to shout out real quick, Ben Sims. They claimed him off waivers earlier in the year, right at the beginning of the year from the Vikings. I'm not sure why they dropped him because he has been really good. Did not catch a pass. I believe he was targeted maybe, but he's been really good as a run blocker, and I think he does have a little bit of juice that he can catch a pass here and there if you want, but he's been really good blocking all around, and I think he's a nice find. I think he could stick in Green Bay for a while too, and also a rookie, so I think Packers have really 3 solid rookie tight ends that, all of them can block to some extent. Luke Musgrave, not as much, but I think he's made a few good blocks. He can be a competent blocker, good enough. And the fact that he's just a playmaker with some speed that can get open and create plays in the passing game, that's really what they drafted him to do. And then Tucker Kraft, more of a blocker. Ben Sims, even more of a blocker, I would say. And all of those guys, I think, can catch passes a little bit as well. So that's fantastic. And I think Ben Sims can kind of be their next Mercedes Lewis type guy. I don't think he's ever going to be Mercedes Lewis per se. Mercedes Lewis was terrific. Maybe the best blocking tight end of all time. But I think Ben Sims is maybe got a little more juice than Mercedes in the passing game. So it should be pretty fun to watch these guys. And the receivers have been dynamic too. Malik Heath, 4 for 46. Romeo Doubs, only 3 for 37. He was a little quiet today. Did have a drop on third down that was, not great. The ball placement, again, from Jordan Love could have been maybe a little bit better, but still very, very catchable. And Dobbs definitely should have had the catch for the first down. And, honestly, if the ball is placed a little bit better, he has the first down and a good bit more, with some run after the catch. But that was... yeah, it was a drop, though. It was more on Dobbs than on Love, I will say that much. Jaden Reed, 4 for 34, and a touchdown. The touchdown came on that first drive after that 53-yard bomb to Watson. They got down to the 10, and Love hit Reed for the 10-yard score. On that play, I did talk about Watson earlier on, running wrong routes or running bad routes, and he did run the wrong route, it appears, on this play. He was right in the area where Jaden Reed was. I don't think he was supposed to be. A lot of chaos there. Love somehow just sifted through it all. Went through his drop, hit the back foot, bam, threw right in between two defenders, right behind Christian Watson. Like, he threaded that thing in there, and it was really a broken play, to be honest. But somehow he saw an opening, hit Jaden Reed. I mean, great concentration just to catch the thing. The ball did move around a little bit, kind of hit him in the chest, and then he got his hands on it. Yeah, good job just to make the catch, because in between two defenders, like, he could probably barely see the thing coming through there. But yeah, Jordan Love somehow able to fit it in there for the first score of the game. And then I believe after that it was the Kraft touchdown. And then he had a throw on third down. I believe it was like 3rd and 8. No, sorry, it was not on third down. It was 1st and 15. 1st and 15 after a penalty, apparently. And Jordan Love goes back, starting to feel some pressure, looking to extend the play, no one open. He rolls out to his right, starts rolling out to his right, then all of a sudden turns, throws all the way across the field to the left side of the field, the sideline, and to an amazing throw. Very, very nice throw to Malik Heath. And there were some people talking like, that is something you do not want to do, throwing across your body, across the field like that when you're rolling out the opposite way. Coaches tell you not to do that. But Jordan Love made it happen just with pinpoint accuracy. Hit Heath. Heath did have a little bit of separation there. Great job by him to work open. He made a nice grab away from his body there, and Jordan Love put it right in his hands. And he was able to get 13 yards and a really nice play to make up, those yards from the penalty there. But a fantastic play from Jordan Love. That was one of my favorites. And then another one of my favorites on third down. The Packers had just gotten a stop. I believe this was after the failed fake punt attempt. Packers sniffed that one out quite well, stopped the fake punt attempt, and then had it pretty near the end zone, but it got to third down, and a good bit, 6 maybe, 3rd and 6, that range, I don't remember for sure. Love just dropping back, and just lofted one up there for Watson, who came down with it for the 23-yard score, I believe it was. Fantastic catch by Watson, even better throw by Love. Just put it right in there. The coverage wasn't really bad. Like, the defender was there. Watson did have a step on him, but the throw needed to be perfect, and it was. And fantastic play for the score there on third down. Overall, I thought the O-line held up really well in pass protection. There were a few times that play I talked about where they could have had a 42-yard touchdown bomb to Watson. Coverage, or the Josh Myers just got beat immediately there. The pass protection. But overall, they did quite well. It was way different from the first meeting where the Lions defensive line, who, has really a lot of no-namers other than Aiden Hutchinson there. Bunch of random guys were getting pressure on Love. I think they're a lot healthier. I think that played a part. I think we had some guys that were struggling with injury in that game, and this time it was pretty good. And they pretty much dominated the Lions D-line, to be honest. And Love was able to throw from clean pockets and did quite well. A.J. Dillon had an impact, caught a few passes out of the backfield. There was no Aaron Jones and no Emmanuel Wilson. He was 14 for 43, 3.1 a carry, which is not a great average. He did have a few nice first down runs, nice strong runs, and was 3 for 38 in the passing game, which was quite nice as well. So he did, I think, what he needed to do, and that was great. On defense, the defensive performance was terrific. The pass rush was insane. Jared Goff, Lions quarterback. Let me just check here. I believe it said the Packers got 33 pressures on Jared Goff. So that's incredible by itself. But if you look at how many times he dropped back, it's even, it's really impressive here. And I will bring up the stats here. He was under pressure on 26 dropbacks, over half of his dropbacks. It's not saying how many times he dropped back, but that was over half of his dropbacks. But the fact that he was pressured on 26 total dropbacks, but they finished with 33 pressures total, that tells you right there that the Packers, their rush was terrific. Everyone was getting in there. But that means they had at least 7 of those rushes where they had at least 2 pressures on the same rush. And that's incredible. So they were really great. The Lions had the second highest graded pass blocking offensive line. According to PFF, they did not look it against the Packers. They dominated. Rashawn Gary was the main guy there. He had 4 total pressures, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Incredible game from Rashawn Gary. I think he might have even, forced another fumble or so on 4th down. That didn't even really matter or not. Or maybe that's counted in those. One of the forced fumbles turned into a scoop and score by Jonathan Owens, who I will also talk about. He played quite well. He looked fast. He looked physical. A lot different than we've seen before. He did have one, I think it was this game. No, maybe it was last game, where he just completely whiffed on a tackle. This game, he looked completely different, like in past games. Looking at him, he looked slow. He looked like he couldn't keep up to some of these guys. He looked like he was playing from behind, trying to just clean up tackles and also just missing tackles. But he played very well, very fast, very physical, making stops in the run game, and that's kind of what they signed him to be. When he came in as a free agent, that was kind of what his strength was. And so it's fantastic to see him out there playing great. And again, he had that scoop and score, which was incredible as well. Just want to mention real quick, Kenny Clark, 8 pressures. Carl Brooks, had 5. Preston Smith had 5. And Enagbari had 4. And those 4 players all set or tied their season highs for pressures. And of the 33 pressures that the Packers forced, 12 of them ended up being sacks or hits on Goff. Goff was just rattled. He made a few plays under pressure, but he fumbled 3 times and lost all 3 of them. Was hit 3 times while throwing, including once on a 4th down play. They were all over the place. Really impressive defensive performance. I think if they didn't put the pressure on the Lions, I think Goff could have picked them apart. The coverage in the secondary was not always great. I don't think Corey Ballantyne and Carrington Valentine being the starters out there. The coverage was a little bit weak, but the fact that the pass rush could get home so much and the offense could keep the foot on the gas, keep a good lead, and start fast, forcing, that's when the Packers are at their best on defense, when they don't have to stop their run, when they can just pin their ears back and just rush the passer without having to worry about, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, because, Lions had to pass to try to catch up to the Packers. So that's really the Packers' formula to win, and at least on defense, and it was really incredible to watch. The Packers actually, they finished with a 76.6 pass rush grade at PFF. That's a season best. The 33 pressures weren't a season best, though. They had 36 in Week 1 versus Justin Fields. Their pass rush is legit. I'm excited to see what they can continue doing. And Rashawn Gary is incredible, making his return. Last time he was at Ford Field, he tore his ACL. He came back and got the sweet revenge, I would say, with the 3 sacks and the 2 forced fumbles. All right, we will get in to my players of the game here real quick, and then get into my Thanksgiving Day takeaways. So, on offense, players of the game, Jordan Love is number 1. I already talked about him enough. Really impressive performance, career best performance for him. I am so excited for him moving forward, and I think he really just proved that he is the real deal, and that he will be the Packers quarterback next year. Number 2, Christian Watson. This was the breakout game we were looking for. Incredible performance by Christian Watson, and could have been even better, like I mentioned. Really, really impressed with Christian Watson out there. And number 3, Malik Heath. He caught all 4 of his targets, made 3 contested catches. Now, here's the deal. Malik Heath's box score, you look at it, it's not all that impressive. It's 4 for 46, which is pretty good for an undrafted rookie who's not played much and just had his first NFL reception last week. But he ran only 5 routes. He caught passes 4 out of 5 routes run. That is incredible. He averaged over 9 yards per route run. And just a really great day. Made 3 contested catches. So contested catches, 3 out of the 4 catches. Really impressive. I talked about that play. Jordan Love throwing across the field to him. He looked really good out there, and he was also really good as a run blocker, and he earned an elite PFF grade for that reason. On defense, number 1, obviously, Rashawn Gary. This guy is a beast. And he had 4 pressures, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 stops. Good in the run game as well. Rashawn Gary was unstoppable on Thursday. And, so fun to watch, and he got the game ball after the game as well. And it was also quite emotional just to be able to perform like that in his return to Ford Field. Number 2, I will put Jonathan Owens in here. He played all of the defensive snaps. He was on the field the whole time on defense. Had a stop, had a forced fumble, and sorry, I'm looking at the wrong guy. He had 12 total tackles, only 1 miss, had 5 stops, and a defensive touchdown. I was looking at the wrong guy. I was looking at the third guy on the list, who is Carl Brooks. Rookie D lineman. And Carl Brooks, we don't talk about him, but he makes about at least 1 splash play every week, gets 1 sack a week, something. And he did it again. He had 5 pressures, 1 stop. He is getting better in the run game, which is probably his weakest point. And he also had a forced fumble, over 31 snaps. Really nice performance from Carl Brooks, and I'm really excited to see him continue to grow as interior defender for Green Bay. I think he can be here for a long time, and if he can continue to improve his run defense, he's going to be a really great player for the Packers. So I guess I will get into my Thanksgiving takeaways. The main takeaway from the Packers-Lions game is basically Jordan Love is the real deal, okay? We don't need to talk about this anymore. I realize there are still doubters. I've listened to Colin Cowherd after the game, just trying to see what he had to say. He acknowledged that it was a good performance, but he is still very much in doubt. I don't know how there can be much doubt at all. I think Cowherd is pointing to the coaching and just Matt LaFleur being able to scheme guys open and make things easy on Love. I think that is a part of it. I think he's absolutely right. But guess what? The next few years, I would certainly hope, unless something goes majorly wrong, Matt LaFleur is going to be the coach. And so if Jordan Love stays here in Green Bay and he's with Matt LaFleur, I think we're set. What more needs to be said? And Jordan Love is not just a system quarterback at all. You look at some of those throws he made. He has incredible arm talent and moves really well. That's something Colin Cowherd likes to say. He moves really well. I guess he thinks Love can do that much at least. I think maybe Cowherd just doesn't like the raw athletic quarterbacks if they can't throw very accurately. He is a huge fan of C.J. Stroud, but Love has been throwing very accurately as of late, especially in this game, and I think that'll continue to improve. And everything, he looks so calm, collected, confident in the pocket, and extending plays. He's been good, just rolling out and running when he needs to. He had a big-time run in this game. Faked it to A.J. Dillon, and A.J. Dillon would have got stuffed. It was 3rd and 1, I believe, and they faked it to Dillon. He would have got stuffed, and instead, it turned into a 30-some, 40-some yard run by Jordan Love. Amazing execution, and that was a fantastic play to watch. Unfortunately, the field was wide open. I thought maybe Jordan Love could take it to the house. He played it a little conservative, didn't want to take a hit or anything, and just slid down. Made sure he stayed in bounds and everything. He might not have been able to outrun everyone. He is a quarterback, and he's not Lamar Jackson, but he can move really well. Just doesn't have really incredible speed, maybe. Not like that is a big deal when you are to be a starting quarterback in this league. I don't think Aaron Rodgers could run away from anyone anymore either. So Yeah, that's my takeaway from the Packers-Lions game. The Cowboys have been kind of the talk of the league right now. Dak has been playing incredible. Dak Prescott, their quarterback. The Cowboys trounced the Commanders 45-10. Here's the deal. The Cowboys aren't what they seem. They're not Super Bowl contenders. And I'll try to be clear with my reasoning here. To be completely fair, Dak Prescott had absolutely no pressure in his face. He was playing against maybe an XFL level defense, something like that. The Commanders don't even have a defense anymore. They fired their defensive coordinator after the game, which I will talk about that in a little bit as well. The Commanders, they traded away 2 really good defensive linemen at the trade deadline. I don't know why they would expect their defense to be good. Their secondary was never that great. And Dak Prescott has a ton of weapons, an amazing offensive line, a pretty good running back in Tony Pollard. Not like they would need a running game anyway. I'm not taking anything away from the performance. It was great. The Cowboys were awesome. But you know what? If the Packers did what they did against the Lions here, I think they could do pretty much the same thing the Cowboys did against the Commanders. Maybe not quite as much, just because the Packers don't have quite the playmakers like CeeDee Lamb and some of those guys, and they had some injuries. But the Packers' performance was made even more incredible just because of all the injuries they had with Luke Musgrave out, Aaron Jones out, Rudy Ford, Darnell Savage still injured. Just really, Jair Alexander wasn't out there. So that's what my concern is that Dak has never been good in big situations. He hasn't been this season either. They've been really awesome lately. They've been playing bad teams lately. And Dak is awesome against bad teams. If he plays a good team, like against San Francisco, against the Eagles, I don't think the Cowboys can win. Against the Lions, that's a better question. The Lions are kind of falling apart right now. Their defense is not great. I think we're starting to see that. And with as good as the Cowboys' offensive line is, I think they can stop the Lions' rush. The Packers just got done doing it. And so then Dak could probably cook against the Lions' secondary, which is a little bit weak. That's a winnable game. You never know, though. The Lions, will be a hard team to beat, no matter who they're playing. But there's no way the Cowboys are getting past the 49ers or the Eagles. Absolutely no way. And both those teams have great defensive lines, can generate pressure up front. The Cowboys will have absolutely no run game against those guys, those teams. So Dak, he's not the real deal. To be honest, I thought at some points, now I didn't watch the whole game, don't take this too far at all. I thought Sam Howell looked a little bit better than Dak Prescott. Sam Howell was running for his life all game long. Their offensive line is terrible. The Cowboys' defensive line is really good. Maybe you've heard of Micah Parsons. And just, he was running for his life and still making really nice, accurate throws. As long as he could get the ball off before he got taken down. Now, granted, he probably held on to the ball a little too long in some of those situations. He did throw a pick six to Deron Bland. Shout out to him. Just broke the single season pick six record. That guy's a real deal. But just Sam Howell was making pretty good throws for the pressure that was in his face. Dak Prescott had no pressure in his face. He missed a few throws down the field that I saw. I didn't watch the whole game. The game got kind of boring, to be honest. When you beat a team 45-10, it's not the most fun to watch. And I'm not a huge fan of the Cowboys, so I don't need to watch the Cowboys crush The Commanders. The Commanders aren't good, okay? So don't take this too far, Cowboys fans. I realize there's hopefully not too many Cowboys fans listening to this podcast because we don't need Cowboys fans around here. But I don't see the Cowboys getting anywhere close to a Super Bowl ring this year. And in the last game, the 49ers play the Seahawks. I did not watch very much of this one either. Just a little bit of the beginning. The 49ers are unstoppable. They are absolutely unstoppable on offense. There is absolutely no way that I can see that they can be stopped. The Seahawks defense is nothing to sneeze at. They've not been that bad of a defense. They're not the best. They're not the worst, though. To be honest, the 49ers defense maybe is the best. Actually, probably the Browns defense. But absolutely incredible performance. Now, granted, I was like, well, how did they even lose those 3 games in a row? Well, that was because they had at least one of their playmakers injured. Debo was injured some of the time. I think maybe Trent Williams was. I'm not sure. He does tend to get injured from time to time. But when they have their big 5 out there, Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, if those guys are out there, and don't forget, they have George Kittle, who's a big part of their offense. If those guys are out there on the field together, I don't see a way to stop them. I don't. And they have a terrific run game. McCaffrey can catch passes out of the backfield. They have Kyle Shanahan, who I think, I got to give it to him. I think he's the best coach in the league. I really do. He has, every time the Packers play him, Matt LaFleur just does not have answers for some of this stuff. He can't quite do the same things on offense, even though he got some of his stuff from Kyle Shanahan. But Kyle Shanahan is masterful. The way he uses motion, the way he schemes guys open. And these guys are playmakers to begin with. Debo Samuel, he'll take carries out of the backfield. They'll run trick plays. Debo will catch little passes. He'll catch passes deep down the field. They can all run after the catch. Brandon Ayuk is actually their main deep threat. And really their main actual wide receiver, I guess you could say. They have so many chess pieces. Everyone's so versatile. It is incredible, and when Trent Williams is in there holding down the left side of the offensive line, he is a force to be reckoned with for sure, and that helps the run game. That protects Purdy. Purdy is pretty good himself, and to be honest, whenever not all the playmakers are on the field, he's not quite as good. He'll make a few mistakes here and there, and that's kind of why they lost 3 games in a row. But he's good. He can move. He can extend plays. And, there's no way a defense can cover the Niners receivers for that long. They could almost run the ball every single play, too. Maybe not against a good defense, but I don't know how you try to stop Christian McCaffrey. You have to stack the box for him to stop him. But you can't stack the box because then you got to stop their passing game, which is way too hard to stop too. And it's just, there's nothing you can do on defense with all those guys out there. The 49ers are legit Super Bowl contenders, and I don't know. They look, at least they did last game, and based on how the Eagles looked on Sunday night, the 49ers look like the best team in the NFC, and they're going to challenge for the number 1 seed. The Eagles keep finding ways to win games, and don't sleep on them. I don't think they're a bad team. They always look bad, but they find ways to win. I think the Eagles can play big-time football in the big-time situations. Jalen Hurts is incredible in that regard. But the 49ers, wow, it is going to be great, and I believe the Eagles have a bye week, and then they play the Niners. So I think in 2 weeks, if I remember that right, the 49ers and Eagles rematch. NFC Championship rematch from last year happens, and that is going to be an incredible game to watch. And to be honest, if I was going to pick someone to win right now, I think my money would have to be on the 49ers. They're crazy. And I don't think there's been a lot of talk about, is Brock Purdy the real deal? To be honest, he doesn't really have to be. He just has to be good. I think he is an above-average quarterback in this league. I think maybe Jordan Love, if he was in that scheme, would be pretty awesome too. But really, all Kyle Shanahan needs is an accurate quarterback. And if he has a guy that can move a little bit like Purdy, not the most athletic, but can move enough to extend plays, that offense is unstoppable. Real quick here, I just wanted to mention real quick, Allen Lazard. Shout out to Troy. He was not a huge Allen Lazard fan. I was, just because I thought it was really cool. Undrafted free agent, kind of on the practice squad a few years, and then kind of emerged as, the Packers' number 2 receiver there for a little bit. But in the Jets offense, he is not working. He was a healthy scratch. He's been benched, and Robert Saleh, kind of tried to sidestep questions about that, but he all but said that he's unhappy with Lazard's play. He hasn't been playing that well. Never been the most dynamic guy, so yeah, you were right, Troy. He does not seem to be much of a receiver anymore. Aaron Rodgers, I guess, can make some of those guys good, but Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle don't do that great of a job of that. Jack Del Rio, the Washington Commanders defensive coordinator, was fired after that Cowboys game. I honestly kind of feel bad for the guy. They got rid of a bunch of the playmakers there on defense, and then they went and fired the defensive coordinator because the defense was playing bad. Go figure. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? So, not a huge fan of the decision. Their defense wasn't really good with those guys, I will say that. It certainly isn't any better now. They are worse now. They're like the worst defense in the league, when before they were maybe in the 20s. So I do think maybe a change was okay, but I mean, certainly don't go trading away good players on defense and then saying, now you have to have a better defense than before because we got to stop the Cowboys. Yeah, not the greatest recipe for success, and kind of feel for him because of that. But I mean, yeah, that's the NFL for you. Frank Reich is out. I kind of feel for him too. Panthers 1-10 start, out in season. You could at least wait to the end of the season. Like, what's going on here? I'll talk about this a little bit because we got Bryce Young on the team, and I don't know what his future looks like. I think Bryce Young is a good quarterback. I really do. I think the scheme was wrong. I think the receivers are not good. They do not have any weapons in the passing game. Adam Thielen's been the main guy. He is so slow. He looks so slow. There's pressure. The offensive line is bad. There's pressure in his face before the receivers are even done with their routes. I think that has something to do with scheme. You got to scheme guys open quickly so you can get the ball out. He can't be stuck there holding the ball in the pocket, taking hits, which is what he's been doing. And then he has to run sometimes trying to get first downs, takes hits that way too. Frank Reich has not been the play caller since like week 4 thereabouts. He handed off the play calling to OC Thomas Brown, and I think after that, that's when the play calling really got worse. That's when the scheme got worse. Now, I haven't watched every film of every game or anything like that, but I did watch a more recent week, and then a week towards the beginning, like week 2, I believe it was, or maybe week 3, when Frank Reich was presumably still the play caller, and I think the scheme was a lot better in week 3 than it is now. Now it's a lot of really old style stuff, a lot of just going straight up the field and stopping, and the receivers aren't even fast enough to, one, make the defenders scared that they could go vertical. So the defenders are all over it, even if they do get turned around in time, which the receivers aren't even fast enough to get out their break in time. They're still running straight out the field, backs to the quarterback as Bryce Young is getting hit, taking shots, and he's not a big quarterback. I'm pretty sure I'm as tall as he is. It's really not great at all, and I think Bryce Young is okay. Is a good. He can be a good quarterback. I think Carolina did give up too much to get the number 1 overall pick just to get a smaller quarterback. If you're gonna do that, you gotta go C.J. Stroud. I realized they thought Bryce Young was better, and maybe he is overall as a passer. But when he's that small, and especially if you're going to let him take shots like this, you should not be giving up that kind of draft capital. They don't even have a first-round pick next year. It's not looking good for the Panthers, and David Tepper, their owner, is really impatient. I'm not a huge fan of the firing. I think Frank Reich is a really good QB coach. I think he could have really helped Bryce Young. But the scheme was not great, and I think maybe that did have something to do with their offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown, who was made the play caller. I think maybe he should be the one fired. Again, I don't know this stuff, okay? So don't take it to anything to the bank here. And I'm not any kind of master of anything. Haven't even watched that much film. I normally do not watch much film at all, or any, unless it's Packers. So I don't think it's the greatest move, but I think if the Panthers, they need to just go out and get someone, one of these main guys. I think the only really, really legit guy that I think could be a really good head coach and that they should go out and get is Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. I think he is the guy to get. I realize he is going to be the hotness. Everyone's going to be going after him, but the Panthers just going to have to do it. They're just going to have to go out and get him. And I think maybe scheme-wise, I think the scheme will get better for sure. The Lions offense is good. Ben Johnson has made Goff into a pretty nice quarterback, and Goff has never been the most skilled quarterback ever. That's why the Rams traded him. So I think Bryce Young could improve, could benefit from that. And I think maybe you get rid of Thomas Brown there at offensive coordinator. Maybe that would be good. And you have to upgrade the weapons. You have to go all in on this guy. And if you hire another coach, you're going to have to stick with him for at least 2 years. It needs some stability. They've just been firing coaches like crazy. I realize David Tepper, he's getting impatient. They're not turning it around. Since Cam Newton, they have not been really very good. Haven't got the quarterback right. I think maybe they do have the quarterback, but they need an offensive line. They need weapons. And I guess now they need a coach. So I think they have to go out and get Ben Johnson. And they have to upgrade weapons significantly. And, of course, the offensive line as well. If they want Bryce Young to succeed. And hopefully they don't give up on him too soon. Okay. Quick little piece of Packers news that just popped up a little bit ago. The Packers have designated cornerback Eric Stokes for return from IR. They designated Savage to return. Last week he was ruled out. So not saying he's going to play this week. Normally they don't. I don't think with the Packers when they designate him to return. They let him get a week or two of practice in. But it should be interesting. I'd love to get Eric Stokes on the field, get some playing time. Hopefully he can actually stay on the field this time. And, I would love to see him back playing more like he did in his rookie year because we could use another good outside corner now that we traded Rasul Douglas. But that will do it for me today. Thanks for listening. A longer episode, but a fun one. Was able to watch some Thanksgiving football, so thought I maybe had some more interesting information to give. Next up is a matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. It will be in Green Bay, so that's a plus. Sunday Night Football next Sunday. Or I guess, week 13 now, I guess it is. Man, the season's going fast. Big game. Chiefs have not been quite as good this year, so it's possible they win, but Chiefs also have a really good defense. Should be a good test for the Packers and Jordan Love. Thanks for listening, everybody. Really fantastic to have you all listening to the show. Thank you for the support. And that will do it for episode 44. And I'll be back next week to react to the Packers game versus the Chiefs at Lambeau. Should be fun. Go Pack, go.